AI design tools. So
Yeah, so why don't we, it's follow two, but let's just get started. Does that sound good?
that sounds great.
All right, thanks everyone for joining. Welcome to the AI Design Challenge. We're going to be comparing some UI generation tools for rapid design. My name is Nils Hansen. I'm one of the partners at Blueshift. I have a long history and design background. I owned a company called Foundry before Blueshift, where we did digital design and development. At Blueshift, we use a mix of AI tools and traditional tools, along with design expertise to help our clients. And we're really excited to do this fun little comparison of some of the AI tools we've been seeing around. Jason, can you do a quick intro?
Yeah, I'm Jason Spidle. I'm a designer and one of the partners at Blueshift as well. And I'm the resident tech dabbler. So, I'm the kind of person that likes to try out every new thing that comes out to try to get other people, whether it's my partners or my actual life partner, to try out these new things. And sometimes it annoys them, but also it impresses them at times because of how much I learn and how many cool tools I encountered. And so with the AI stuff, I've definitely been playing around with a lot of them, or even more than playing around with them, made them part of my professional design practice. And we're definitely excited to show off some of the capabilities and really talk about how that could fit in with product design.
Cool. So the tools we're going to be using today are in this order. First one is Vercel V0. The second one is Figma Make. Everyone's familiar with Figma. And the third one is called Framer Workshop. Jason, can you quickly explain the rules and then we'll get started?
Yeah, so all the tools are going to get the same prompt initially, and then they'll have 2 follow-up prompts. So I'll show that prompt now. So we're focusing on just generating a component, not a full landing page or a full dashboard or anything like that. Instead, we're focusing on just a specific component that would appear, in this case, on a dashboard. But that specific component is, it's outlined here, but it's basically just a UI card that has a chart in it and some annotations. But the annotations are something that are editable, and you can add them to the chart as you see fit. So there needs to be both a chart view, a view with the chart in a rich text editor, and then a view with a chart and the annotation after it's been added. So there's some complexity there. There's definitely some UX questions that you would immediately have thinking about a component like this, and so it's definitely going to be a challenge for these tools, but we'll see how they turn out. Well, like I said, just 2 edits. We'll adjust the edits as we get the generations back, so there'll be different edits, but we'll see where things stand after those 2 edits.
Yeah, and right, just to be clear, the level playing field is that they all get the initial prompt is always the same for the 3 tools, and then we get to modify those based on what we're seeing for the output of the first prompt. So, should we get started?
Yep.
So Vercel V0 is the first tool.
Yep. So Vercel V0. This tool is actually built by a company that's more known for their developer products. Vercel being a no-code or low-code way to deploy products, but it's been one of the older UI generation tools. It's been around for more than a year, so it's definitely got the furthest along in development, I would say, compared to Figma Make. Just came out last month. Same with Framer Workshop. So those are both new on the block. But I've preloaded the prompt, so we're just gonna click send and see where it goes from there. And of course, I gotta switch actually to the window where I can click send. There we go. Of course, with any of these tools that are using language models, and especially the UI ones are often using thinking models, there's going to be some waiting time for the thing to show up. Like I said at the beginning of our call, we should have had waiting music for the call. I wonder if these AI tools should have some waiting music for when you're waiting for the tool to actually produce the thing.
We should have done the Jeopardy waiting music for sure. Next time, we'll get this more polished up next time.
One thing that I like with some of these tools, only a couple of them do it, but they'll have like a notification sound that they play when it gets complete, so that you can go to different tabs and do things, and then you'll know when it finishes. Only a few of them do it. They should really all consider doing it though.
So, oh, there we go.
So this is the thinking part. It's thought through what it's going to do, and it's telling us what its thoughts are here. With all three tools, the manner in which the UI is generated is with code. They're not working in a design application. Even Figma, which you would expect would be generating something like Figma layers, but they're actually they're generating with code as well. Runtime error. Do we count fixing the errors as one of their follow-up prompts?
We'll have to.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could hear the sound. You probably couldn't hear the sound actually because I'm not sharing the sound, but it did make a sound there. So we'll fix the error, which is that tabs content must be within tabs. Seems like a pretty...
So that is their coding error?
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Seems like a pretty easy error to avoid, but what do I know? As a designer, I actually do have a fair bit of background in development. I was initially a developer, and I spent quite some time doing that, and I still dabble in it. So it's not something that's totally unfamiliar with me, but some of it is getting more and more over my head as like the tooling and the pipeline gets more complex with the way that web apps are being built. All right, so now we got JSON. Here's an updated version of the chart card. It seems like maybe the chart isn't being rendered still, so I guess that'll be the second follow-up. But I'm gonna add a screenshot with this second follow-up so that it can see what I'm seeing.
So this is all they get though. This is their final chance. Yeah. Not faring very well so far for Vercel V0.
So I included the screenshot and just let it know that it's not rendering, and instead it's just showing the raw JSON. Although the way that the text is worded up there, it makes it seem like that was intentional, which don't know why that would have been given my prompt, which was pretty specific that I wanted a chart card component.
I mean, is there any reason for them to show the actual code, or is that just like a status indicator?
Oh, look at that. Just like that, it fixed it.
Okay, this is better.
Yeah.
All right, let's play around with this one.
Yeah, so what we got is a chart with the requested ability to move between table and chart view. That's good. We don't have tooltips on the bars, so that's missing. I don't see a total N either, but we do have an add annotation button. When we click it, we get a modal to add the annotation. So apparently I can use some formatting to get the rich text. There's not a rich text editor exactly, but if I click Save Annotation, we can see that the annotation appears below the chart now. And if I click Edit, it opens the modal back up. I can change it. And it's reflected down below. So
okay. So this is missing the tooltip. The annotation works. The chart has individual colors for each data point. So not terrible, but it took, used up the prompts to get there. So let's do a screenshot of this and then move on to Figma Make.
Got it done. So Figma Make. Again, just the same prompt. In all of these cases, I'm not going to be messing around with the model selector. This one doesn't actually even let you change models, but often these tools will give you an option of picking between, Claude or OpenAI or even Google sometimes. But this one we'll go with the default and hit send. And it being a thinking model, again, we're going to have a little bit of a wait time. We'll see kind of the reasoning here, but it kind of scrolls past so fast that it's not really, you could read it certainly, but it's going to go pretty quick and start coding. And yeah, whether or not you need to see the code, that's a good question. It does give you something to see. It's almost like a loading bar, except you don't know where the end of the loading bar is, I guess. I mean, some of them, I mean, there's a tool called Bolt, and another one called, what's the other one I'm thinking? Oh, Replit.
Yeah.
Those tools, they generate a lot of code, so you really never know.
It is
There'll be
impressive
multiple
how
files.
fast it's generating the code. I don't know how useful it is to actually see it being generated. I mean, there's not much you can do with it.
No, you can't change it. You can't.
It's more of a kind of, it's like showing off.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's...
Sorry, I'm late to the game and joining this, but is this just a demo?
I think you were asking if this is just a demo, but no, we're actually going through and generating the UI based on a standard prompt for all 3 tools. So they're all going to get the same prompt, and we'll evaluate the results. So
What happened with this one?
again, just like with V0, there's some errors. It doesn't tell us what the errors are, but it does give you that same fix these errors for me button. So we're going to click that and let it do
So that is
its fix.
So the initial prompt was used, and fix errors uses another one.
Yep.
Correct?
And the interesting thing with these tools, I mean, are all non-deterministic, so they're always going to be different each time you use it. You could use the same prompt and it'll produce different results. I mean, obviously, we did do a little bit of trial and error or practice with these prompts just to see where they would land and make sure that they are going to produce quality results. And the errors are something new this time around compared to when we did our practice run. So.
And you didn't give Figma Make a screenshot?
No, none of them get
Okay.
screenshots. They were just that prompt, which while we're letting that generate, I can go back to the prompt actually for a minute. So they all get this prompt, and each one of them, well, so far the 2 that we've shown have resulted in errors on their first try or their first shot.
Yeah, how's it going so far? It's also, yeah, it's interesting that it would ask if you want to fix it. I mean, of course we do.
Yeah, some of the tools I've used, they just default to fixing the error for you, which is, yeah, what you'd want almost always. In the case of V0, they actually told you what the error was, so I suppose you could, investigate it further and see if there is a different fix that you'd want to implement, but all right. That
Okay,
one,
so Figma Make has finally produced some UI for us to check out. So let's take a look, and Figma Make does have 1 prompt left if we need to use it. So
yeah. And actually, it's pretty similar to what V0 produced, with some notable differences in that it followed the prompt more strictly. For one thing, it has the total N count in the bottom part of the chart, which was a request in the prompt. It also has tooltips on the individual bar, or not in the individual bars, but the columns at least.
it has a consolidated tooltip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The table view
And let's...
appears to work fine. And then add annotation. So similar to V0, it actually does a modal, although this one is kind of a strange modal because you can still see the chart, which is actually, that is a specific requirement in the prompt, that you're able to see the chart as you're writing the annotation, because the annotation relates to the chart, so you need to be able to see the data.
Okay.
So we'll try out they have more of a rich text editor bar at the top instead of using those markdown style
Right.
formatting tools. So if I hit save notes, it adds it to the bottom.
Okay.
There's an edit note button that'll open up the modal again. Looks like there's an edit button down here as well.
So 2 edit buttons. All right. Just to
And
try that again.
edits seem to work. So
it does have 1 more prompt. Let's try this really quickly. Just keep things moving, but let's ask it to do. Should we ask it to do individual tooltips
oh yeah, sure.
and not a consolidated one?
Okay. So I just asked that instead of the consolidated, make the tooltips appear on the individual pieces of the stack bars. But, you know, arguably the consolidated is just as effective. So this is more of a just using up the extra prompt that Figma Make has.
Right, and you know, Kurt Schmidt mentioned that these tools are frustrating just because they're so inconsistent, which is true. I mean, even if you're just using standard ChatGPT for conversational stuff, it's so inconsistent.
By inconsistent, you mean that they're as far as following the prompt?
Just the results. I mean, if you use Figma Make again and do the exact same thing, it would come out different.
Yeah, totally. Or even like change the colors for some reason.
Okay, how's this?
So it doesn't quite work. It's only doing it on, it looks like it's showing the red bar when you hover over any of the bar, but the individual pieces.
Okay, so it didn't change the tooltips. Let's quickly add a note and see if anything changed there.
Oh, sure, yeah. Looks like it works the same way, but yeah, the tooltips are a little bit off.
All right, you want to get a screenshot of that one, Jason, and we'll move on to Framer Workshop.
Yeah, I'll go back to the second version just because that one's actually the one that's a little better. So, screenshot here. Okay.
All right, so our third and final contender is Framer Workshop.
And this one's the newest tool, or actually it's about the same age as Figma Make. Figma Make was announced a few days before, I think, at their conference, and then Framer Workshop. It's a little bit of a different approach than the other two, V0 and Figma Make, in that it's not the same sort of like chat on the side interface and then it generates a bunch of code. It's more focused on generating individual components. So you really want to keep it tight and focused the way that this prompt is currently. So, but it gives you a little bit more. I know it's interesting how it integrates more with like whatever it is that you're building and in Framer already. So in this case, we'll click generate and you'll see pretty similar to the other two tools, except that you can't actually, if I zoom in, you can see like some of the code, but I mean, you don't get to see all the code. They're abstracting it a little bit more. They know that really you don't need to see the code, or there isn't anything that you gain from seeing the code generated, but this functions more like a loading bar in a lot of ways, because you're not even seeing that it's making separate files necessarily. You're just seeing the code go by. But it is, I think this is the real code, because if you catch some glimpses of what the text is, you can see that it's relating to whatever it was that you requested. Another part that's a lot different with the Framer Workshop model is that the output is going to be a component, like a self-contained component that has configuration options, which I'll show just as soon as it's done. So as opposed to like the way that Figma Make and V0 do it, if you want to make changes in those ones, you're going to have to make additional prompts. And we can do that with Workshop as well, but there's a way to actually just go over and change some of the settings within the Figma or the Framer interface.
Okay.
So
just zoom out a little bit, Jason. What? This is interesting.
It's a little messy looking right now, but here I'll show you a little bit what I mean about the. So over here you can see I've selected this, and they have options over here to basically, adjust it with their interface. So I can add another bar. I can add as many bars as I want, but if I want to see it actually in preview, I'll have to put it over here and press play. And here we go. So chart, table. Obviously there's like some overlap that makes it hard to read this thing right now, but the total ends up there at the top. I click add annotation. It shows up down below, which, it doesn't expand the size of the card. So there's definitely some UI things that need to be improved. And I guess I can use these, they're not even exactly markdown. These are pseudo markdown or pseudo markup. So I hit save, the annotation's down here. So, one thing I do appreciate about this design, even though there's a lot of flaws with it, fact that the button to add an annotation is at the same place where the annotation appears is kind of nice compared to the other two.
Yeah, it's a normal design.
Yeah. So we got 2 more prompts. Let's try to get this overlap fixed, I suppose.
Okay.
And I'll include a screenshot because all of these have vision capabilities, and so you're able to, you know, include some visual that gives them a little bit more context to what you're asking. Or I guess I say the bar and so I'm just telling it that currently the bar runs into all that stuff. So it'll hopefully interpret that as I want to fix that, which it didn't, as far as
It did not fix it.
Another thing we can try to do is, well, we can say something doesn't look right, and that apparently that's a.
Did you use it? That's the
I
third
guess so.
prompt. That's
Clicking
it.
clicking those suggested prompts actually just makes those prompts happen. So it says it's building still, which it's done. It didn't change
so
it
it
much.
didn't do anything. All right.
Let's just. I think that was like not quite fair. I'm gonna give it one more prompt here, just to see if it actually does make it any bigger. So I think maybe telling it to make the card overall bigger, maybe giving it more height might help.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell it to make it 600 by 480 and see if that fixes it. Hopefully it makes it bigger and actually, changes the size, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's fixed to that component size. Oh no, it did. Didn't fix it though. It made the card bigger, but
Well, let's just given we have 5 minutes left. Let's put all these side by side and take a look and pick a winner. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Just lining them up.
Well, are you?
All right, so here we go. Oops. Oh yeah, you probably can't see that very well. There you go.
So Jason, could you just tell everyone like what would we do at Blueshift? I mean, we use these tools for some of this sort of basic work of laying out wireframes. I mean, I would call these wireframes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What would we do with these after we get the wireframe output?
Well, there would be a significant amount of design refinement that has to go into it. They do actually, like you said, they make great designs for wireframes because, with wireframes, you're not really concerned about the visual. You're not concerned about like certain aesthetic choices. You're more concerned about, do these workflows make sense? And actually this kind of code generation is great for those because you have interactive elements that you can play with and click on as opposed to like a static prototype. So we use it a lot for wireframes, but to get it to look the way that the, client brand looks or the way that the product that we're working on looks, to get it refined in a way that is modern and follows best practices, requires basically just recreating it entirely and making better choices about how certain elements of the design work. So we have a version of a version of this that we designed ourselves, and we can show that to
Yeah, and
showcase
just really quick, Jason. So these can you just write which ones these are?
Oh yeah. So oops. Now let's make this like that. So this one's Figma. This one is Framer. And V0.
And we kind of anticipated that Figma was gonna win this.
Yeah, I mean, based on our practice runs and also just that, Figma's a little bit more, they make the premier design tool for our industry, and of course their design shops are pretty impressive, and they've put that into whatever their system prompt is with Figma Make and made it something that is able to generate pretty close to what you're asking in the prompt. I mean, that was the only one that followed the prompt exactly, actually. Or that's not true. I guess Framework technically did too, with their with the components that were there. All the parts of the prompt are there. It's just the way it looks was not.
I think the main point here, everyone, is that these tools have a long way to go. I mean, they can definitely help, and we do use them, as I mentioned, but it still takes you know, an experienced design sort of mindset to take these outputs and bring them to a kind of a production ready, dev ready level. I mean, we couldn't present these to clients.
You'll see how much different it looks just when we show this. I'll show it right now, actually. So if I go here, so in our version of this design, there's some similarities.
And these,
certainly,
just to be clear, these would still be wireframes.
Yeah. So in our version, though, it's the bar chart. You know, has it's a bar chart. Is what it is. But the controls for annotation and for switching between chart and table are centralized in one spot because they're controls that are changing the behavior or the appearance of the card. If you click on the annotation button, we had it opening on the right side so that you could see on the left your chart as you're writing your annotations. It's a standard rich text editor. Upon hitting save annotation, the annotation would appear exactly where you had written it rather than having it, you know, jump to some other place like the bottom. So that makes it a little bit, you know, more intuitive when you're using it. But it's, you know, quite a bit different, I'd say, than the solutions provided by the tools, and it is through, you know, our experience in working with the client and understanding the needs that they have that we're, you know, able to design things a little bit differently and make sure that the final product is something that's going to be useful.
Great. Well, we're at our time limit here. Thanks everyone for joining. Keep an eye out. We're probably going to be doing more of these challenges. You know, we started small with just one component here, but we might do something a little bit more robust in the future. And we also recorded this, so we can we'll share that with everyone who attended here. And have an awesome day, everyone.
Yeah, and if you have feedback or if you have thoughts or ideas, feel free to share them. This is our first one, so we're definitely interested in doing more. And
please reach out to Blueshift if you have any questions about this, or if you just want to chat more about it. We're around, so thanks everyone.
Bye.